just come out and say it, your protests are as worthless and pointless as your votes. How long are you going to peacefully protest for the same thing before you understand that they have already heard you and they are simply not listening? You've been protesting for the same things for years now, and they let you protest. You have a right to criticize your government, but that doesn't mean they're listening to you. In fact, they are very openly not listening to you. You have the right to complain, but that's all you have the right to do. You are not making a change in your government. You are not making a change in your country. You have no say in what the U.S. does. You have no say in what you get from the U.S. And the reason for that is your peaceful protests are where it begins and where it ends. There's no follow-up. There's no threat of a repercussion if you're ignored. And that's why fake populists like Bernie Sanders will invoke Dr. King's name to condemn protesters in LA for fighting against ICE, and then herd all these would-be revolutionaries and activists to his No King's Day parade. No King's Day is a DNC-funded event. The Democratic Party bankrolls this. And it is just a group of protesters, a massive group of protesters, saying that they are unhappy about things and then bragging about how peaceful their protest is. That is not the flex you think it is. How many anti-ICE protests have we had just in the last 2 weeks? We've had a ton, and they're all very televised. What has your government done? Nothing. They haven't done anything. They understand that you are upset about ICE. They're not doing anything about ICE because ICE is doing exactly what ICE was built up to do under Barack Obama, under Bush, under Trump, under Biden, and now under Trump again. This was always the intention for ICE. ICE would have acted this way regardless of which OCGFC puppet would have been elected in your last election. Your government doesn't care. And if you want to say it's because Donald Trump is the president and he has supreme power, then you must then answer why Joe Biden couldn't do a damn thing for us when he was president. Why Barack Obama couldn't do a damn thing for us when he was president, if that seat grants absolute power like it apparently does for Trump. At some point in time, you have got to get around the cognitive dissonance that you are suffering from and admit to yourself that these people all play for the same team. They're best buddies behind those curtains, and they're laughing at you at their cocktail parties. I've seen so many photos of Mike Johnson and Joe Biden kneeling together in prayer at the National Prayer Breakfast. So many pictures of Barack Obama and Donald Trump joking like they've been best friends for years. They don't even try to hide that their puppets are all best friends and they work together, but you're so desperate to avoid doing any work to actually make things right in your country that you would rather believe ignorantly that these politicians are fighting each other, and all you have to do is lazily go to a voting booth once every few years and vote for one of them. You would rather go to a protest that's more like a picnic and brag about how peaceful and non-threatening you are. Your government, the National Guard, mass murdered students at Kent State in Ohio for protesting against the war in Vietnam. What do you think they're going to do to a bunch of you unarmed peaceful protesters who are simply upset about the agenda that they always intended to carry out? You need to stop letting them divide you. Liberals, conservatives, you're all working class. You have more in common with each other than you have with anybody in Congress. You need to start reaching across the aisle and stop looking down your nose at the other side. And you need to start building community so that you can support worker power, because that is the only tool you have to get this government and the corporations that own this government to do things for you, to make concessions to you. Because if you think you're going to skip a bunch of steps and just go straight to a general strike, well, we already saw what happens to general strikes if they're inconvenient to the White House and Congress. Joe Biden took the railway workers' right to strike away from them when they only wanted a sick day. And if they would have striked afterwards, they'd have lost their jobs and been replaced shortly after. And without a community to support the desperate people that would cross that picket line and take your jobs, to support you while you're keeping that business from running as long as you've got to, your strikes mean nothing.